You're watching the morning news on the Dan Broadcasting System television with me, Williams Amoh Hour. Good morning and thanks for choosing us to inform you this early Monday morning. Now, women in the littoral region have been encouraged not to relent their efforts in ensuring the sustainability of rural households and communities as they perform the bulk of unpaid care and domestic work within families and households in rural areas. The encouragement came from Governor Samuel Judune Ivahadiboa as he watched the women celebrate the 22nd edition of the International Day of the Rural Woman. The Douala 6 municipality with headquarters in Manoka played host for the very first time for this event. The Nkam division would host the 23rd edition that would be next year. Now, in sports, we talk of volleyball and we say Cameroon has touched the Women's African Volleyball Championship trophy for the very first time. Cameroon hammered Kenya over the weekend 3-0 at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex to back their first African title. Despite the volleyball lesson given to Kenya by Cameroon, Kenya, who is 9 times African heavyweight champion, would alongside Cameroon represent the African continent for the 2018 Women's World Volleyball Championship scheduled for Japan. We will be bringing you details of how the match went last night or last 2 nights at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. In other news, schools have observed the National Orientation Day, given that it was the 13th of October, Friday. It was a day set aside by the educational community. In our upcoming report, Arjara Ali looks at the importance and the need for orientation, guidance, and counseling in the educational system. Her report.
Many schools organize orientation program of children who are about to join primary schools, secondary and high schools. Orientation serves as a great opportunity for students to enroll on programs that will fulfill their future dream in career building. Orientation programs are new in our concept, but as the days goes by, parents, teachers, and students are gaining much in the role they play in orientating the pupils. Orientation days are mostly held at the university campus, where a variety of events are well orientated to students, and equally a period to welcome new students. In Cameroon, every 13th of October is being observed as School Orientation Day, celebrating the day as the National Day for Guardian Counselors. However, the educational officials thought it wise to institute a National Day for Orientation, thereby adding the need to guidance counseling in our schools to develop a high sense of information on the socio-economic environment and for the school officials to make good use of these counselors.
Cameroon joins the international community over the weekend to celebrate this year's edition of the World Day for Natural Disaster Reduction. Gathered at the conference hall of the governor's office in Douala, participants were reminded that a number of natural disasters are preventable and could be avoided. Mange Venasu sat through the working exercise or the celebration and brought this back for the morning news.
The best way to reduce natural disasters is to prevent them. It is with this notion that the international community observed the World Day of Natural Disaster Reduction Friday, 13th of October 2017. Gathered at the governor's office in the littoral region, participants came together to raise public awareness on the different themes related to natural disasters such as landslide, eruption, floods, and many others. These are not strange to Cameroon.
This day is very important to each and every one of us to give our contribution towards the reduction of catastrophes, including accidents that may become catastrophe if they are of a high amplitude, which means we can record accidents with a great number of deaths. This can pose a problem. So we are intervening here today, the International Day of Catastrophe, to do sensitization and principally the prevention of these accidents.
The goal of all these is to prevent loss of life, property damage and social and economic disruption caused by these disasters. In the case of Cameroon in general and the littoral region in particular, palpable examples of such catastrophes range from fire accident, collapse of buildings, floods and landslide. Mr. Chaketong Herman, who represented the governor, indicated that a good number of these disasters are preventable if and only if our mentality toward these disasters are changed. Various ministerial departments like Health, Transport and the Firefighting Brigade of the Armed Forces took turns to explain to participants ways of preventing and thereby reducing these disasters. It was concluded that this is a considerable challenge which can be accompanied only through coordination, cooperation and collaboration amongst many stakeholders. This year's target is focused on prevention, protection and reducing the number of people affected by disasters.
Another cooperation tie between the Republic of Cameroon and the United States of America has been signed. This time around, it is in the domain of maritime security. This was in a ceremony that saw the presence in person of the minister delegates in charge of defense, Joseph Betty Asomo, at the headquarters of the naval base here in Douala. The move is aimed at fighting maritime piracy in the Gulf of Guinea and the ECOWAS territory. Prince Meduke Folan joined in the signing ceremony and brought this back for the news.
After transport, education, tourism, Cameroon has cemented another cooperation ties with the United States of America. This time it is in the domain of maritime security, in which she has donated some new water vessels to the Cameroon Army. The vessels are coming at a time when maritime insecurity is one of the major threats in the safety and economic stability in the Gulf of Guinea and ECOWAS territory. These, among others, like acts of increased maritime robbery. This takes us back years ago when some banks were reported to have been robbed in Douala and Limbe. Drug trafficking and smuggling cannot be left out. These setbacks have triggered leaders of ECOWAS since 2013 to adopt a code of conduct on how to tackle these ills.
The execution of this skillful, implemented and completed with professionalism and tact gives us full satisfaction and goes down the records of our partnership with the United States of America. Our diversified, constant and multifaceted partnership covers many fields and is visible specifically in the Navy.
3 of the naval bases, Douala, Limbe and Kribi, will have to witness such maritime security with the help of modern technology accompanied with professionalism. Hope the end of maritime insecurity is near in Cameroon.
A new study has revealed that there has been an increase of recent in the number of obesity in children around the world. We have more on that with the VOA.
The study by the World Health Organization and Imperial College London analysed height and weight measurements of 130 million people to determine their body mass index, or BMI. The results were stark. In just 4 decades, since 1975, there has been a 10-fold increase in childhood and adolescent obesity. It is a global problem, but the most dramatic changes have occurred in middle-income countries in East Asia, the Middle East and North Africa and Latin America. Lead author Professor Majid Edzati.
So places that a few decades ago there may have been very little obesity and a fair amount of underweight suddenly are having bordering epidemics.
In higher income countries, rates of childhood obesity have plateaued but remain very high. In this income group, the United States had the highest obesity rates. Researchers say the global epidemic is a result of food marketing and policy making across the globe.
Rather than sort of being any individual's choice, it's how the environments that people choose their foods, healthy foods being priced out of reach, and especially out of the reach of poor, and unhealthy foods being marketed aggressively, together with perhaps not having the safe playing area for children that are leading to weight gain.
Obesity is an underlying cause of many diseases later in life, including heart disease, stroke, diabetes and some cancers. But it also has a big impact in childhood.
So it's associated with a stigma, so psychosocial consequences for the children. There is some evidence that it actually affects educational outcome of the children.
The study also looked at the number of underweight children, which still represents a major health challenge, especially in the poorest parts of the world. India had the highest prevalence of moderately and severely underweight young people.
We really need to deal with the two issues at the same time. So we can't wait to deal with underweight and then worry about overweight and obesity. The transition happens really fast, and they are all different forms of malnutrition.
The report's authors are calling for policymakers to find ways to make healthy, nutritious food more available at home and school, especially in poorer families and communities, alongside higher taxes on unhealthy foods. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
If I take leave of you, just to remind you that Cameroonian-born Clovis Kamsong of the SNH Velo Club is the winner of the 2017 edition of the Grand Prix Chantabia Cycling Tour that wrapped up over the weekend. We'll also bring you details of that story. Thanks for watching. Take the next rendezvous tomorrow, same time. I will be yours, Bilin, but I think Prince Meduke Folan is on standby.